Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to cloud test lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
We say right click on the package, we go to new and we create an interface. Let's say I'm giving a name interface 1 and I say see, for class it will be class, public class, vehicle, but for an interface the keyword is used is interface, and in an interface we can define variables. I can say int. Can I leave it uninitialized? I cannot do that. All the variables inside an interface are by default public, static, and final. Even though I don't specify them, I didn't specify final or static or final. All the variables inside an interface are by default public, static, and final. And as their final variables, if you don't initialize them, we get a compilation error. So when we declare the variables, we have to initialize the variable. So you know about public. Public means it is accessible everywhere. And when I say static, it is a class level variable. And when we say final, this becomes, when we make a variable as public static final, it becomes a constant and we cannot assign a new value to the variable. And let's say I define a method and say, can I define a method here? I say public void method 1. Can I define a method here?
But without body.
Which means we are just defining the contract of the method, right? We are not defining the method. We are just giving the contract of the method. All the methods in an interface are by default public and abstract. All the variables in an interface are by default public, static, final, and the methods are by default public and abstract. So, what is an abstract? We are listening to the abstract keyword, right? There is a keyword abstract. We can make a method as abstract. Right? When you make a method as abstract, we cannot define the body of the method. Abstract means there is no definition for the method. Even though I don't specify it, the methods in an interface are by default public and abstract. So we cannot create an object of an interface. So what is the purpose of an interface? There should be some class which implements the interface and provide behavior for all the abstract methods. As you see how an interface declaration, interface and the interface name, and inside you have the constant and you can define methods. The constants or variables in an interface are by default public, static, and final, which means they are accessible to everyone. You don't create object of the class. You don't need to create an instance. And we cannot create an object of an interface, right? There will be some class which implements that interface and we can create objects of that class. And when we say final, we cannot assign a different value at the runtime. And methods are by default public and abstract. So there will be no flower braces in an interface. And for the methods, we can make only public and abstract, and no other modifier is allowed in an interface. I cannot make a method in an interface as protected, or I cannot say it as private. I cannot do that. It's by default public and abstract. So basically, interfaces are the contract that has to be followed by the implementation class. So let's say I have defined an interface reachable and I have a constant country code inside it. And I have a method validate address, right? So if I create a class which implements this interface, right? When we create a class which implements, folks, observe this, when a class is inheriting another class, we use the keyword extends. But when a class is implementing another interface, we use the keyword implement. So when a class is implementing the interface, it has to provide behavior for all the methods in an interface. So in the class, in the customer class, we are providing the behavior for the method. See, the return type is a boolean. So we have to return a boolean value from the method. So a class implements an interface, and when class implements an interface, the class has to provide behavior for all the methods in the interface. So we have an interface here. So let's create a class which implements this interface. So I create new class and say it as an implementation class. And here itself I can add interfaces. I add and have selected this interface. So it generates the code, implements interface. When we are implementing the interface, it just gets this method. If I don't define this method, it gives me a compilation error saying the type IMPL class must implement the inherited abstract method. So when we double click on this red mark, it gives us the options on how to resolve this error. We have to say add an implemented method. So we have to provide the implementation class has to provide behavior for all the methods in an interface, for all the abstract methods. Doesn't make any difference, right? All abstract methods are all methods, because all the methods in an interface are by default abstract. So the class has to provide behavior for all the abstract methods. Can we have an interface like this? What is wrong with this interface? Folks, you see my screen, right? What is wrong with the interface? I created an interface, something is wrong. So what is wrong with this interface?
It's implemented.
Yes, it is defining a method. We cannot do it in an interface. But this interface, even without having anything, we can have an interface like this. That is valid. But we cannot define a method in an interface.
Neha, can you go over?
I'm sorry?
Can you go over that thing that I didn't understand that part? What is wrong with the interface, with the following interface?
We are defining a method here, right? We are defining a method. When you have this brace, this is the body of the method. This is the definition of the method, right? In interface, we cannot define a method in an interface.
Okay, can you show me the body of the method? Which one?
This is the body of the method. Whatever we see in the flower brace, right? This is the body of the method. So let's see, when we have a method, this is the body of the method. For this method, this is the body of the method. The open and flowered braces, whatever is there inside the braces, this is the body of the method.
Okay. Even if you include comments also, right? Comments like to do.
Yes, comments we can give anywhere in the class.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what we use for single line comments. I can just say it as an IMPL class. You can have anywhere. I can have like directly in the class. I can have, here I can say, a comment for the class. I can have inside a Java file. I can have the comments anywhere. See, I have made a comment outside of the class, right?
Outside the class.
Yeah. Yes, this is the body of the class. And this is the body of the main method. This is the body of the method 1.
Okay. All right.
Saroj, we can have only final variables in an interface. Even though we don't specify the keyword final, they are final variables. We can only have final variables in an interface. And folks, for an interface reference, right, we have learned that we can assign a subclass object to a superclass reference. That's what we saw here, right? We can assign subclass object to a superclass reference, right? In the same way, when we have an interface reference, right? When you have an interface reference, we can assign the implementation class object. Let's say interface 1, I can say I is equal to new an interface reference. What is this? This is an interface reference. We can assign an implementation class object to a interface reference. Folks, this is really interesting. I can call, let's say, I.method, right? And let's say if I create a new method in this interface, right? Let's say I create one more method, let's say method 2, or a new method in this implementation class, right? I cannot access the new method on the interface reference. I cannot say I.method 2. It's going to give me compilation error when it's I.method 2. We can assign an implementation class object to an interface reference, but we can only access the methods that are present in the interface. The same rule applies here also. When we assign a subclass object to a superclass reference, on the superclass reference, we can only access the methods that are present in the superclass or the super interface. We cannot access any new methods that are defined in the subclass or the implementation class on the superclass or super interface references. Folks, is that clear? An interface, a class, implements the
Neha, Shiny here.
Yes.
In the subclass, superclass example that you have shown, right? I think it's virtual.java. Can you take that example, please? The subclass, superclass, virtual V is equal to new car. So you have declined that.
Here?
Yeah. So here you had said that vehicle V is equal to new car. Then with the object V, we can access only those methods which are in the superclass vehicle.
Yes.
Is that like
with the vehicle reference, we can only access methods that are defined in the vehicle class. Same here, when I have an interface reference, I can only access method 1. I cannot access method 2 because I don't have method 2 in the interface. I have it in this class, but the reference is an interface reference. So I can access the methods that are present in the interface. I cannot access the newly created methods in the class.
actually the object V is created in the vehicle example. The object is actually
Car object.
pointing to the vehicle class.
See,
Is it like that?
the object is car, but it is a reference of vehicle which is pointing to it. So we cannot access we can only access the methods that are present in the vehicle class. We can only access methods that are present in the vehicle class on a vehicle reference. Although the object is car, we cannot access it. When I say C dot something, it's a car reference, I can access all the methods in car. But when I'm using a vehicle reference, I can only access methods that are present in the vehicle class.
The object is referring to vehicle class. Even though the object is that of class car, it is pointing to the vehicle class. Right?
Even though the object is a car object on a vehicle reference, we can only access methods that are present in the vehicle. With any reference, we can only access methods or variables that are present in the specific class or interface.
Okay, and if both vehicle and car has got the move method, the v dot move will be called the v dot move method is the move method in the car. Is it?
Yes.
Oh, the instance is pointing to the superclass, but the method executes.
Shiny, I'm going to discuss it as part of overriding. So what happens when we override? Yes, which method gets called? I'm going to discuss it.
Okay.
Neha, can you discuss what Sally was just asking about this one? What was her question with this one?
Our question was, if I create any new methods in the car class, let's say vehicle has a move method, right? Even though I don't define a move method here, the car class gets the method, right? And we can assign a subclass object to a superclass reference, which we did it here, right?
So here, Neha, when we create a new car, so basically new car is we are instantiating an object, right?
Yes, we are creating object of type car.
We're creating object of type car. Okay. And what is this assignment? What is this equal to sign? It has a name, right? Some kind of operator, right? What is that called? Assignment operator, right?
Yes, equal is the assignment operator. It assigns the object to a vehicle reference.
Okay. And just explain v move 20. Just explain that part. V move 20.
Yeah. When I say v dot move 20, it calls the move method in the vehicle class. We don't have a move method in the car class, right?
Okay.
It calls the move method of the vehicle class. In this line and in both these lines, it calls the move method of the vehicle class.
Vehicle class. Okay. So this class is actually public because that's why it can be called from a different method, right?
Yeah, we can access this class from any other class as it is public.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Neha.
Okay. Any other doubts? No, we cannot. We don't create constructor in an interface. We don't do that. We cannot do that. So, folks, now I'm going to explain in detail about overriding, which Shani was asking. If I have a move method in my car class, and if I have the same move method in my if I have a move method in my vehicle class, and if I have the same move method in the car class, what happens inside it? That is what Shani was asking. I have a move method in my vehicle class. When I access it, when I call the move method, it is calling the move method in the vehicle class. But if I have a move method in car class, what does it happen? That's what she was asking. So when we inherit a class, right, from another class, the subclass gets all the variables and methods from the superclass. When I say all, it isn't really all, whatever are visible. For example, if I have a private number or a private variable or a private method in the parent class, does the subclass inherit it? Does the subclass can access it? No. Right? If it is private, the subclass cannot access it. In the same example, if I make this as private, right? Can I access this move method here? I cannot access it. But if it is public or protected or default, I'll be able to access it in the subclass, right? So if I have the same method, if I want to override the behavior, let's say there is some behavior that is already defined in the superclass. We have the move method that is already defined in the vehicle class. We want to change the behavior in the subclass. Let's say I want to override it. Folks, too easy, we can go to source, override or implement method. I'm just repeating. Right click, source, override or implement method. We want to override the move method. I selected it and say, okay. So when I say that, what happens? It generates the method. Whatever behavior we want to keep it, we can change it here, but it generates it when I do that. What is overriding? When I have a method that is defined in my superclass, I want to change the behavior of the method in my subclass. That is what is called as overriding. So here I'm saying as the move method in car class. Folks, all these concepts, overloading, overriding, these are the fundamentals and very, very important concepts. And I have a move method in my vehicle class. So folks, what is the move method that gets called when I run this? When I run this piece of code, what is the move method that gets called? When I say car C is equal to new car, and when I say C.move, which method gets called? Does it call the vehicle method or the car method?
Car method.
Yes.
Car method.
Here we are overriding the behavior. We want to change the behavior that is present in the superclass. That is the reason we have overridden the method in the car class. When I call it on a car object, it calls the move method in the car class. Folks, is it clear? Okay. And then when I say vehicle V is equal to new car, I'm saying a car object, a vehicle reference. So which move method does it get called?
Vehicle.
Vehicle.
Class, car class.
It's the car method that gets executed. In overriding, the instance method, listen very carefully folks, the instance method, they are called depending on the object, not on the reference. What is the object that we are creating here? It is the car object, right? When I say new car, we are creating a car object. So the object is car. So it executes the method.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website h2kinfosys.com. On our website h2kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.